This stream is not for G4 outdoors. Not for G4 liking. Come on up, Randy. You ain't busy, man. I know you ain't doing nothing. Come on up. Come on up. Franco, Andy, what's up, G4, Big South, Keegan. Dang, everybody left. I said, come up. Everybody left. See what happens? I know you buy your computer. You ain't doing nothing. Come on up, because you just started. You just started last year, so you'd be perfect. I mean, I want to bring people up 5 to 10 minutes a piece and just talk about this. What's up, Brian? I'm here. Used to trim the neighbor's yards. I quit because one told me that she is only willing to pay $10 to cut her yard front and back. She didn't want to pay me good. There you go. That's what you should do. See if we get anybody up here. Waiting on Randy to come up. Still waiting on Randy. Get some people in here. Where's everybody at? Where is everybody? Clean up stuff real quick. Give me a drink. Oh, yeah. Give me a Mountain Dew to get pumped up. Get pumped up. Troy ST in the house. Just like the title says, Big South. What's the title say, man? What's the title say? What's it say? He said, what? There we go. All right. What's up, Randy?
Hi.
Hi. Oh, you got to turn your phone sideways.
Okay. I'm in the show.
There you go.
I'm in the show.
There you go.
I don't have good volume.
So, this year, I want to go more informative on starting a company, some of the issues from the beginning.
You're going to have to chat without me.
What?
You're going to have to chat without me for a second. I need earplugs.
Oh, we'll get earplugs. Go to your computer. Jeez, ways. We just want to get more in depth of things to pretty much help people out. Is what we want to do. And yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Without paying somebody to do it. He said, I didn't see a title. And it's a lot of work, including trim the edges along the fence, the house, the trim the grass, sidewalk. Yep. It is a lot of work. But look, if this fat guy can do it, anybody can.
Mic check.
Get headphones.
Mic
Can
check.
you hear now? 1 2
Mic
1
check.
2. Mic check.
3 4.
Okay. All right. So
The first thing you need to start. The first thing you need
Whoa.
is a sponsorship.
Oh, geez. So Gravely, huh?
Oh me.
Okay,
let's go. What's up?
All right. So we just want to I'm gonna bring people up. We're gonna talk about, starting a business, man. Like everybody wants to start a business. Nothing's stopping them. Nothing's stopping them. I mean, there's a couple different ways to do it. Some people want to start from the beginning. Like, hey, now's the perfect time to get. They've got a full-time job. Keep that full-time job. They want to do this on the side. Do it on the side for the year. Work up to buy equipment that you need or want or whatever, and start it, next year full-time if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. But, a lot of people say, oh, I want to do it. I want to get out of my full-time job. I want to go into lawn care, but they hesitate. And why do they hesitate, Randy? Why do people hesitate on doing this? I mean,
I think with anything in life, the hardest part is starting. By starting, that can mean a lot of different things to everyone. If you want to do something, start. The hardest part is taking that first step. What could that first step be for a lot of people? We can talk about first steps in buying equipment. We can talk about first steps in getting your first lawn, which first lawns aren't hard to come by. That depends on your price, your mentality on talking to people, your ability to talk to other people. If you're not out there to,
you're selling yourself.
Absolutely. If you're not confident in yourself, that's another step that you need to get on top of. It's just another step. These steps are the hardest parts, and as long as you take those steps, it's easy. I'm not really a kind of guy that likes to talk a lot in public. Believe it or not, I'm not. I actually despise talking in public. Right now, it's just me and you. This is fake. So I'm not fake, but I'm not talking in front of an audience. It's me and you on the phone right now. But when I go to sell myself, hope I don't blow off my railing. That's a wrong way down there. So when you go to sell yourself to a customer, you have to be your best person. You can't go up to someone and say, "Hey, I'll mow your lawn for." It's done right there. It's a lawn mowing job. Every yard, the basic setups. Andrew Wilson, what's going on, brother from another mother? I'll talk about my prices real quick. Prices are very standard. They might go up this year. I'm not confident on if they will or not, but my prices are very standard. Minimum is $40. That's a yard, no gates, no fences. So all you do is mow around the house and you trim the sidewalks. If you have a fence, that's $5 extra. If you live on a corner lot, that's another $5. So $40 to $50 is going to be my average lawn mowing prices. And the larger the yard, those raise in $5 increments. Go ahead.
Do you think people hesitate to start a business because they're scared of failure? They're scared that if they fail, it's on them. It's not on somebody else. It's their responsibility to keep the business going. Do you think a lot of people don't start or don't actually go into the full-time part because they are scared of failing?
That's a possibility in the very beginning of business. Like if you have a backup job and you're able to go to that, I can see some people being afraid to leave that. I've been forced to leave my full-time job, and I'm okay with that. And I've had a backup plan. So starting and failure has been something that I have been able to confidently and without fear walk through. If that makes any sense.
Last year.
That is right. Yeah.
And if you was do it all over again, because how long have you been doing it now?
January, February, March.
So
March 21.
You were there the whole season. our
Mhm.
off season. If you was to do it all over again, what's some things you would do differently starting all over?
Honestly, in my position, I would not have done anything different except for secured a storage unit.
Yeah, because
That
you don't
is
have storage at your house to.
no, and as soon as I get the Lawn Care Guys YouTube channel up and running for this year, I'll go more into depth in that on why and what you should be buying. I'm not saying you should go out and buy new stuff, but in my garage, G4 Outdoors has half of my garage with a $45,000 boat. Can't find a storage unit for that. And then the other half of it is the Lawn Care Guys, and I have well, you can't keep your stuff outside, and I don't care where you live. If you're in, I don't care what neighborhood you're in, you can't leave your lawn care equipment outside. It's gonna go. So the other half of my garage is filled up with that, and I did have options on that. I could have went with a 12-foot trailer, and every day I would have put that trailer into the garage. I literally would have had inches front to back to fit that trailer in the garage. And if you ever work with those specifications, it's a pain in the butt, especially with my boat, because that is literally, I think it's 3 inches that I have to spare front to back to get that boat in there. And it's a real pain in the butt to put it in there. And that goes
So
with
you
the
went
same.
all brand new equipment. This is something you don't have to do. I mean, I started with a residential Cub Cadet mower and worked my
Well,
way up from that. You know, I
yeah,
mean, you don't have to go out and buy this fancy equipment. Does it make you look better toward a client? Maybe, possibility. I don't know. I mean, personally, I'm more likely to buy a product from somebody who I feel has the right equipment compared to somebody who just does this. But then there's a lot of people that just want their lawn mowed, so equipment don't matter to them. So I mean, it's really where you're at and what type of people I guess you're trying to sell your product to.
right. Well, I was also fortunate enough. I've been smart with my money throughout. I'm 48 years old, I believe, somewhere around there. But I've been smart with my money. I went out and bought my trailer for $2,300 cash. And for some people, that's a huge amount of money. And for some people, that's a drop in the bucket. I bought my trailer undersized so that it would fit in my garage, hoping that in the near future I could find a parking spot for it, a storage unit or something. Which, speaking of, I think I'm going to go to some farmland this year and see if anybody wants to barter a trade for a couple parking spots for a little bit of work throughout the year. I don't know. Maybe an acre's worth of mowing every week for a parking spot seems fair to me, but we'll see who all wants to get in on that. As far as lawnmowers goes, Danny, I've been mowing for 20 years, and my first mower I bought was a Gravely, and it was the high end residential. So we're not talking about big money, right? And I was out mowing people's yards. There was a 2-acre property I mowed for $25, and the rest of them was trailer court. I mowed a whole trailer court for free. It's just something that I've always thoroughly enjoyed. It's a weird enjoyment that I have. Everything you see behind me is not my land, but I take care of all of that. And there's
Right.
a couple of acres back there. It's just something that I enjoy doing. It's relaxing, and I think that if you don't have that mentality, you're going to get burnt out super quick, because it is work. It is work, and I enjoy work. And you were talking about, I forgot. Let's move on.
So the money's there. The money. A lot of people want to hesitate because they feel the money's not there. And one of the things that, I mean, I had a guy comment on one of my videos, and he's like, what's your secret? Behind the scenes, it looks like, you've got a nice house, you've got a nice family, you've got all this stuff. It seems all hunky dory, and it is hunky dory. It's all in how you manage it that makes it that way, though. I mean, I can listen to people all day long to tell me I'm not successful, but success is what you make it, in my personal opinion. To me, I'm successful. I'm successful am I as successful as I want to be? No, but I can't sit here and say I'm not successful because I've got the proof. I mean, I started from literally nothing and worked my way up to this. It's not just something that happens overnight for a lot of people. And the money is there. What, a lot of people hesitate. Well, what about insurance? Well, you got a wife that works a full-time job. Why not be a part of her insurance?
I would like to jump on that, on your success. You say that you are successful, and that is all that matters, is not me saying you're successful. If you say that you are successful, then you're successful.
Right. Yeah. Success is looked at in different ways through different people. So, somebody may say, well, you're successful because you run crews. You have 2 or 3 crews. To me, you're successful to you. I don't want to be there.
And that doesn't mean that you're more successful than I. It just means that you're successful. Right, yeah. You can go into different levels into your own success. But let's say I just wanted to live in a tent and $500 a week is all I need to live on. That is success. I'm living happy because that's what I want. That's what I need. I don't want anything else. I want to work for my money. That's success. Right. So say whatever class bracket you want to be in. If you meet your class bracket that you want to be in, you're successful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we got Howard says, I'm in Utah. I just started mowing lawns. City said I don't need a license to just mow. I'm thinking of getting next insurance. Do I need an LLC? Hi, please, and thank you. You do not have to be an LLC to get insurance, general liability insurance. You can be a sole proprietor and get insurance. Personally, I go through, who is it? I go through Hiscox Insurance. It's HISCOX, and I've personally never had an issue with them. For $1 million, $2 million, or you can get $2 million. It's $40 a month, somewhere around in there. That's another big thing of starting out is, once you get all this stuff going, insurance is, the 2 things I would change from the beginning. If I was to do, well, there's 3 things I would change. A, I wouldn't take anything and everything thinking that I have to, because it made me turn into the quality guy that I didn't want to be. It made me turn into the, hey, this guy does this, plus he does extra work for free. Hey, hire him. He does it for $30. It turned me into the what I didn't want my company to become. So after my 2nd year, I had to go and revamp a lot of stuff and change that, because I learned my lesson from the first 2 years of things. Insurance I didn't have for the first 2 years. Let me tell you, the reason I did not have insurance was A, I was too lazy to call around. B, I thought it was going to be expensive. Same thing with a CPA. That's the reason I didn't do it, was because I figured it was going to be outrageous. I went to one CPA, he quoted me an outrageous amount, and I just took that as, well, this is what everybody's going to be. And I didn't call around, and I didn't do my research. And let me tell you something, if I was to do it all over again, that's the 3 things I would change. I would have, nothing ever happened where I had to pay, but I bought I got the insurance. I got the quit doing the anything and everything job, thinking that I had to. And you live and you learn. And I think a lot of these people, they they are scared to start because they hear horror stories, but at the same time, there's really no horror story out there. You know, I mean, it's just do it the way, get it set up.
There
Get
is.
your goals wrote down of what you're wanting to do, how you're wanting to do everything, and stick to that plan.
Well, I'll do a side story on that then. The LLC, having a family that's worked in insurance since I was knee high to a grasshopper. The LLC, sole proprietor, anything to get your business away from your personal life is a must, because anything that happens, no matter how you look at it, is neglect on your part. So let's see, Mammoth GMC, I can't think of his name because he changed it. It's not even Fall River. He's a Florida guy with the beard. He sings. I need help on this one.
Al Blades?
No, he's a bigger guy. Not a bigger guy, but go Wally Wood. Wally Wood down in Florida.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Wally Wood was running mowers, and if you ever watch his videos, he does not side shoot anymore. Everything is 100% mulch because he put a woman's eyeball out. No matter how you look at it, that's neglect on his part. You can say, that lady shouldn't have been there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No matter what, it's neglect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his circumstances or anything, but let's just say I did that, and I did not have that, my company, disconnected from my life. Everything I own is able to be sued and taken away from me. So having that LLC is a must, no matter what part, no matter what stage of business you're in.
But another thing about having an LLC from the beginning is you can start working on your business credit to separate your business away from your personal credit from the beginning. So you can, you know, instead of waiting 2 or 3 years to start that, you could start that immediately and start working up your business credit. And
then your first year in business, you can be successful. It's 100% possible to be successful. I think that if you try, as long as you keep your head to the grindstone and you do everything that you should be doing, not procrastinating, doing what you can to give your business the best name possible, is year one's number one goal. You get a bad review and it's your first year in business, you're kind of done. So if you go out to a property, 100% do your best job. I don't care if you got to mow it 2 or 3 times. Mow that grass, make it look the best that it can. On those properties that you are 100% positive that that's an amazing lawn, get a review. Right there on the doorstep, send them a text along with your bill. All year long, I've done Venmo. If the property is above standard and looks meticulous, I send them a text, here's your bill. Also, it would really help out the lawn care guy if you'd leave a short written review on Google Business. That would help my business out a ton. And it does. The more reviews, the more better reviews you get, the higher up on that list you're going to go. There's been businesses here where I live for many years, and I'm number 2 on that list. And one of them is the biggest company here in Smithville.
Google Business is huge. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Google Business, your word of mouth is bigger than anything out there.
And one of the easiest ways to get a good review is to do exactly what Danny said not to do. Somebody needs help on their yard. You have nothing to do. There is no reason for you to not go to that person's house. I'm not saying underbid it, because they're not going to have bids. All their bids are going to be literally $1,000 and above. Go out there and mow it for your exact time put into that job. $60 an hour. I wouldn't advise anybody going below $60 an hour. If you do that, then you are cutting yourself. You're cutting the guys next to you. You're not making any money. It's just not worth it. Go out there, look at the job. Say, this is going to take me 3 hours, but the grass is a foot tall. I don't care. I don't care. 180 bucks. Cut them a deal. That is a 5-star review right there. That one 5-star review, you may have lost money on that job, but you just gained yourself all of that unsaid professional 5-star review. So I think that those properties are helpful for a small business. How do you take that?
So Lawnscape says, as far as worried about being sued, use your business account for business only, which, like I have, everybody, like if you really want to do this and you want to do it right, you should always start. In order to have a business account, you have to have at least, something with the state saying you're a company.
Separate and apart from separate and apart.
Yeah. Or banks ain't going to just take your word for it. But yeah, I mean, you should always have a personal account, and then you should have a business account. And then, actually we have 5 accounts. But that's, it always separate your business from your personal, always. Like, I don't care if you decide to start it as a sole proprietor, or if you started as an LLC, that's a must. But if you started as a sole proprietor, you should still separate your business from your personal, and get used to at least, paying yourself and figuring out your expenses. That's another big thing of a reason a lot of companies that I see or, hear about going under is they don't have a clue what their numbers are. They don't know what they're, they think they're bringing money in, but they don't realize the money that's going out, and they're not making half of what they thought they were making. And, then the next thing you know, they're back working a 9-to-5 job.
Something on knowing your prices. I've been very fortunate of getting into the lawn care community way before I was in the lawn care community working. Is I was able to go work with people, help people, just get out and mow 30 yards a week, just helping people, working for peanuts, man, working for peanuts. No offense to anybody if they're watching that I've worked for, but you learn a lot. And I've heard someone say, I believe it was Keith Kalfas, no, it wasn't. It was continued education, guys, is very important. Whether you believe it or not, the Entrepreneur Academy did teach me some things. It made me realize things. Actually, something I really want to say. You know everything you need to know, but you may not know that you know that stuff. One thing is, do you just want to go out and start your business not knowing anything? You can do that, but you're going to be tripping all day long. Take my yard, for example. It's not a huge yard. One would say it's not a huge yard, but look at all that fence line. That's not a $45 mow. That's a lot of trimming, both sides of the fence. All right. You go up and you bid that at 40 bucks. You just cut yourself $10. And then when you leave this property, you're going to be mad. You're not going to have the cojones to come back next week and say, I'm sorry, I underbid that. No, you finish your year out, or you drop them. That I don't believe in raising prices, but I have quit a job before. Completely got over my head. I finished what I said I was going to do, but I didn't do the extras that I said I was going to do. So if you go out and work with someone, ask somebody anybody that mows lawns. Go out and work for them for a week. One of the speakers at the Entrepreneur Academy, he said, would you rather not know anything or go work for a company for a week, 2 weeks, a month with no pay and get all of the information you can from that owner? They'll hire you for $10 if you can afford that. If you can afford to live off of that, they will pay you the minimum amount of money for knowledge. And then you can be on that property if you don't already know how to mow and weed eat, which, believe it or not, a lot of people don't. Running circles in a yard is not mowing, guys. Weed eating down to dirt is not weed eating. Weeding to the same height as your lawn mowing is weed eating.
Right.
So go
Arnold
out.
says, once
Go
I get
ahead.
an LLC, does that give me permission to do my own website? You can do a website without having an LLC. There's different things. Like Lawnscape says, if you plan on growing your business someday and get financing in the business name, then yes, do not, do not, get the whole sole proprietor out of your vocabulary. You can start as a sole proprietor and then work your way up to that. If you decide, hey, I want to see what the thing's going to be in my area for this, for this year. I want to see what the money's going to be like. I personally don't see anything wrong with starting as a sole proprietor. And the next year you say, hey, I want to do this full time and start an LLC. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Virgil may have a different opinion on it. But I think eventually, as long as you work up to that and you figure out what you want to be, then you'll be fine. But yeah, you can do as a sole proprietor, as an LLC, whatever, you can do your own website. You can ride on your truck, being a sole proprietor, as long as you are registered with your state as a business, regardless of how it's registered, whether it's a sole proprietor, LLC, sole corp, whatever the case may be, you can do anything to your truck you want. As far as charging, how do I go about charging customers? That depends on your area. One thing a lot of people recommend you could or could not do is, what would you bid your property at? Think about that way. If you was to say, hey, I'm going to do $40 is what I would bid my property at, call some lawn care companies out at the beginning of the season, get some quotes and see what other companies would charge for that. And, that'll give you a decent way of pricing. When I first started, I've got a spreadsheet that is actually, what's up, Phils? I got a spreadsheet that's actually, I can put in, I want to make $65 an hour. It'll ask you, how long does it take you to trim this property? How long do you think it's going to take you to trim it? How long do you think it's going to take you to mow it? How long is it going to take you to unload, load, back up? It'll take into consideration everything. And it will give you a price of, depending on what you want your hourly rate to be, it'll tell you how much you should charge for that property. And then you can go, well, I think that's a little too high. But if you want to be at the 65, or what I consider everybody should be at 75 an hour, then, that's a good thing to base everything off of. What are you smiling for? Let's bring up Big South here. He's been waiting for a while.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, I agree with try and think long term. I don't believe anybody should start.
I restarted it and you still sound like a monster.
Oh, as just trying to see if it's what they want to do or if the money's there in their area. The money's there if you go after it and do everything. So, I don't. But yeah, once again, some people will tell you, Virgil, get it out of your vocabulary. But my first 3 years, I was sole proprietor, and
I've been doing it for 21 years, and I'm still a sole proprietor.
Why did you never switch over?
Well, the place I rent, my shop and everything, I rent it. So there's really nothing that anybody could take from me, say in a lawsuit. Plus, I carry enough insurance that my insurance will cover anything. God forbid I could drop a tree on somebody's house and completely destroy it, and my general liability would cover it. And, you know, plus, really and truly around this area, you have to have a lot of personal property to protect yourself in order to get an LLC. There's only 4 companies around this area that are sole proprietors, and 2 of them have been out. Well, one of them I worked for back in the 80s. This guy's dad started it in the 60s, and they're the biggest game in town. The problem with them is, and I can say this, a buddy of mine just took one of their jobs because, and this is nothing toward anybody, any sect of people, but all this guy hires are non-English speaking Mexican guys. And when they pull up on a job, they can't communicate with the customer. And so they've kind of got that niche, and they don't, you know, if you want them to trim the lower limbs on a tree, they want a separate contract and they want to charge you $125 an hour to do that. And the customer just got fed up with it. And she hired a friend of mine, and he's gone in there and completely gutted everything that she wanted done. And he has been paid well for it. But as far as the LLC, I don't own enough personal to have to worry about it. I mean, my work truck is a 1996 Ford F-150. Who's going to come after that? I mean, really and truly. I mean,
So
I see
Kate says, we go into business for financial freedom. If you're a sole proprietor, DBA, then how are you getting financing in the business name? And the simple answer to that is you're not, because you can't.
Well, I
don't believe anyway. And then why does anyone want debt in your personal name?
Well, me personally, everything I have financed has been through my business name. It's not, and my business name, I don't put it out there on YouTube, and nothing to anybody that does, but I've worked too hard. I've been robbed 3 times, and I'm just not willing. That's why I came up with the name I came up with for my channel, because I don't want to put my business out there. I want to protect my business. And, you know, as far as getting financing, I've never had a problem with it. I started out, you know, this other gentleman was talking about how he started out. I started out literally with a home light weed eater and a push mower, putting it in the trunk of my wife's car. Because at the time, back in 99, we only had 1 vehicle. 1. And so I would take her to work, and she worked at a graphics and printing shop, and I would take her to work. Am I talking too loud?
No.
Okay. I would take her to work, and I would go do the 2 or 3 yards that I had at that time in my business's infancy. And I did that for over a year, dude. I mean, I push mowed half-acre yards for over a year. And then the word started getting around that I was cutting grass. And a lady at church said, "How much did you charge me to cut my yard?" And then my father-in-law, hey, I hate cutting grass. How much did you charge me to do mine? And then it went on from there. I finally saved up enough money, and I nearly gave my wife a heart attack when I bought my first riding mower was a 1974 Craftsman. And it had the opposed twin cylinder 18 horsepower engine. And I ran it until it wouldn't run anymore. And then I went to a mower shop because I had put a new motor on that machine. I went to a mower shop. I got me a Murray mower that was in really good shape, didn't have an engine on it. They sold it to me for $250. I took the motor off of my old one, put it on this one, and I ran it for 2 years. And then I finally saved up enough money to buy a brand new riding tractor. And Danny, I ran it until the steering would not stay together and the front tires were doing this. I mean, it was just wore slam out. And then I had built my business up enough that I could afford to buy a commercial zero turn. But not everybody starts out different. Now I started out with what I had. I didn't go out and go in debt. And right now the only debt I have is the new mower I bought last year. That's it. Everything else is paid for.
Yeah, I'm debt free.
Yeah.
Virgil says if you're solo, then it's under your social security number, not an EIN. That could be the case. It could not. You can get an EIN.
Well, I have a federal tax ID number.
Yeah, you can get an EIN being a sole proprietor, LLC, sole corp, whatever. Dick TV says, Virgil, you can get a business loan as a DBA. Virgil says, how? You're PG it then. I don't know what PG it then. I'm sorry, I'm not going that route. It defeats the purpose. Oh, personal guarantee. You want no personal guarantee.
Basically, what that means is you are personally guaranteeing that you're going to pay it back.
I've been charging cash, Venmo, and check for the most part. How do I go about charging customers with their card? Heard now that Venmo, unless it's a gift, drinks, food, or reimbursement, they're going to want a fee. That's really all, up to you of how you go about doing that. Me personally, I find it, card on file. I'm still honestly not 100% card on file. I don't have an issue with any of my clients being paid, but
me either.
Doing PayPal, Venmo, I find doing what's best or what's most convenient is, a great way. But, hey, it's as simple as just going and saying it. To me, it would be harder to say, I'm a new company, give me your credit card. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're an established business, then I find it would be way easier to go to these clients and go, hey, we take a credit card on file. We charge you, at the end of the week after the service is done,
right.
Whatever the case may be, and do it that way. Have contracts that state, that's how they're going to do it, or, whatnot. So they know exactly, both of y'all are on the same page from the get-go. There's no miscommunication from the beginning. So we get 15 customers for the last 4 years. Sean calls me almost every day with load for your business. Oh, loan for your business, I guess. Virgil says, I'm sorry, but I have never seen a loan for a DBA. That's not a personal guarantee. Unless I'm wrong, I don't see it.
Well, I can tell him now. I've got one right now, and I'm paying on it. I don't mean to be ugly, and I'm not trying to be argumentative, but I've got a loan right now I'm paying on as a DBA. In all honesty, it probably depends on the state you're in too.
There's a lot that varies from state to state on different things of what you can or how you need to do it. Like, we don't have to charge sales tax here. Some states have to charge sales tax.
Yeah, we don't either.
So the only thing it really depends on where you're at.
Yeah, the only thing I have to charge sales tax on is when I buy a material like a bush and resell it. But what I do, I tell them, look, charge me tax on the wholesale. That way the tax is already paid, and I just recoup it back from the customer. The tax is already paid. But it all depends on where you're at. Now you were talking earlier, and I was I was sitting here listening. You were talking about the hourly rate and using the card and everything. Now this is just me, and everybody's different. But what I do, I look at the yard, and then I say, okay, this customer is probably going to pay, because I have about 5 customers that live out of town, and I take care of their property while they're gone, and they pay through PayPal. So knowing what the fee is, I try to charge a little bit more than what the fee is going to cost me. That way, when the fee does come out, I'm still making what I need to be making.
Can you read the comments on the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So what? Go ahead.
He says, so your loan is in your DBA report to your business credit file and not your personal credit file.
It's in
so I
both.
think what he's saying is if he looked up, if you go to your credit and you go to, your name, would that loan be on or under your name? Or, if not, then of course
it would be under, it's under both. Because my business name is registered with the state and with the county and with the federal government through my federal tax ID number.
He says on Dunn and Bradstreet, Experian Business, and NAV.
All of it.
Dick TV says you think you won't have to pay the loans, and if something happens as an LLC, should something happen, you will, especially on big loans, courts and businesses will come after you as managing partner.
Yep, absolutely. And trust me, I used to own a semi, and I had the same situation I've got now. And at the time, I was not savvy to how things worked, and I got myself into bed with the devil. I got myself into what they call a non-cancelable loan or non-cancelable lease. And when I had to turn the truck back in, because our president at the time signed a trade embargo, and as an owner operator, it cut me off. I had no work. And so I sat for 6 months. Well, what little bit of money you have accrued, you go through it quickly. Yes. And you talking to me? You're waving it. Okay, I'm sorry. But anyway, they came after me. They tried to sue me. And because the only difference, the thing that made the difference was not how I had my business set up. What made the difference is in North Carolina, a non-cancelable lease is illegal. It is against the law. You can't do that. They knew that, and they still basically hornswoggled me into signing that lease. And a friend of ours, the same company. And that we went to our attorney, and the attorney said, this lawsuit ain't worth the paper it's written on. He said, as long as you don't step foot in the state they're in, they can't do excuse my French, they can't do a damn thing. He said, throw this thing in the garbage and go on with your life. And that's what we did. And then after they put it on my credit, but after 3 years, my wife disputed it, and it was removed just like that.
Andy, what do you got for us?
I'm just listening. I'm here listening.
So, Andy, how long have you been in business? 6 years, 7 years?
Something like that.
What would you change differently if you were to do it all over again? Did you start out as a sole proprietor, or did you go to an LLC? Tell us a little bit about your experience.
I'm still a sole proprietor. I need to get my LLC. I jumped into lawn care just wanting to do work and make money. I'm not the business side of it. The business side of it is my wife.
See, that's me.
Because you were at a full-time job when you were doing this part-time.
Yeah, I started off with a Craftsman riding lawnmower and whatever would fit in this 5x8 trailer I had.
Hey, me too.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I made money with that thing.
What would you change differently if you were to, everybody goes through ups and downs in the first couple, 2 or 3 years. What's some things you would do differently looking back that, you would change?
I would educate myself more on business.
For sure.
100% educating myself more on business and learning the ins and outs of that stuff. Because anybody can do the work. The work's not the hard part. The being the manager, the equipment dealer, the mechanic, all those hats you got to wear in business. That's the hard part. Cutting grass is easy.
Mhm.
It's doing all the behind the work stuff that makes it a little more difficult. So
Now,
if I was to go back, I would try to learn business better.
now let me ask you a question. I haven't had the pleasure, by the way. I'm Brian with Big South Outdoors TV.
What's going on? Andy Cut and Clean Lawn Care.
All right. The federal government tells me that when I go to a job, I have to write, like shop to my first job, and then from that job to the next job, and back and forth like that. Is that the way y'all do your mileage?
That's the way we're supposed to do it, but I mean, that's not really the way I do it.
Yeah.
I try to add a couple more miles here and there, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, the reason I ask, a buddy of mine, Danny, if you remember, the guy I told you got the job away from the big company here in town, he was doing he would write his morning mileage down and then his evening mileage down.
That's
And
what I was
said,
told to do by my CPA.
really? Well,
Mhm.
if you ever get audited, and it might, I don't know, but I was told if you ever get audited, they're not going to accept it because they want this is how stupid the IRS is. They want every bullet point of where you've been with your truck. Because see, when I first bought my truck, it was a personal / business truck. Now my truck is mainly business. It stays connected. It stays hooked to my trailer all the time. It never gets driven. And every mile almost that I have put on my truck since I bought it has been in for business. Now, is it in my business name? No, it's in my name personally. But it's, it is for my business. And when I bought it, it had 97,000 miles on it. And now it's got 231. And of that mileage, I would say probably 3,000 miles has been personal. And because I just don't drive it for other than business. I drive it for estimates. I drive it to go to work and stuff like that. And if you watch me in my videos and you see the hood of that white truck, that's it. And, it's aggravating. That's my whole point. The one thing I have to do in the morning, I have to write, shop, and then my mileage. And then when I get to my first stop, whether it's to get gas or at the first job, I have to write down that mileage and then write down in there and then just go right on down the line. And I didn't know how you guys did it. And I was just curious.
The best part of having a CPA is they're the ones liable for it if I get audited.
That's true.
I do what I'm told to do.
Right.
And if I get audited, it goes back to them.
Ah. See, my wife is my CPA, and I'll tell you why. My wife got into a dispute with, my wife got into a dispute with the revenue service and won. I mean, blowed them out of the water. So I trust what she says. I mean, she keeps abreast of all the rule changes and the law changes and stuff like that, among the other hats that she wears.
That's why I pay somebody to do it, so I don't have to.
Right. So you've been in business for 6 years. Now, how long have you been in business?
Legally 1 year.
1 year? Well, welcome to the nightmare.
In my truck, I'm lucky enough to have cool electronics in there. So each thing that I hook up to the trailer connection, it keeps its mileage for whatever's plugged in.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, my truck does it too.
This is good advice right here.
Yes.
Is fuel or mileage? Well, see, I was told it's either you can claim your fuel, all of your, your oil changes, anything maintenance wise you do to that vehicle, including fuel, you can claim all of that, or you can claim your mileage. Yeah, whichever one's going to be greater is the one, of course, you would want to claim. So if you've got a tight route, you may do way more maintenance on your vehicle than you ever did getting back the 54 cents, depending on what it is per the year in mileage. So yeah, I mean, that's another thing. And if you've got like this, if you've got Lawn Buddy or any of them apps Well, they automatically track where you're going and your route and everything anyway, your stops. So, it's easy to track your mileage and, and write it
Yep.
down. So, I mean, I think that was my big thing was, here's my mileage. Well, it's easy to say, well, hell, here's my route for the day. Here's what I did. Go look at it. I mean, here's the start. Here's the end. It's not hard to put in these addresses and freaking route it and get the mileage from it. So yeah, and then you got depreciation and
we have my wife and I use Life 360, and it keeps up with all the mileage.
We've got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is any write-off that's pretty much one of the main reasons why I recommend a CPA is you will never get everything unless you have a good CPA. There's always things you personally will probably miss that you could have wrote off. You can write off 1 meal a day.
Oh yeah.
So your lunch, you could write off your lunch for the day. There's so much you can write off that a lot of people don't know. I don't know what happened to Andy. Did he? I think he took his.
Oh yeah, he did disappear, didn't he?
But then again, there's different CPAs. CPAs run off of opinion of what they know.
Right. Well, that's why I said I recommend a good CPA.
You can write off, like if you buy. Now you've seen my videos. I wear muscle shirts because it gets so humid down here, as I'm sure it does where you are. But it gets so humid that having a sleeved shirt, it sticks to you and it wants to pull. And I'm not one that likes that. I like the freedom of the movement. Well, you can write off your shirts. You can write off your pants or your shorts, as long as you only wear them for work. And I do. I don't.
Sure, you do. Sure.
Yeah, I wear. You can write off your shoes. And it just. I mean, there are so many little nooks and crannies that people don't know. This buddy of mine, he did not know that you can write off socks.
This is a real good one. Your office, you can write off not only your office, but internet, electricity.
Yeah, you can write off a percentage of all of it.
A percentage of
according to the square footage of your office.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can write off
anything you buy for your office, your computer, all this stuff. You can
also if you're using your personal cell phone for your business, you can write off a percentage of your cell phone bill.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Dig TV says I've had 2 audits. I'm 1 for 1. One I owed and one they owed me.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I've got you. I'm on the computer here, but I've got you. We stream with Roku, and I've got you up on the TV screen so I can see the comments.
Dig TV says if you write off a home office, it's a red flag.
Well, you don't write off the whole office. You just write off the square footage of that room. As long as the office is only used for business.
Right.
Like, I'll give you an example. We homeschool Nate, and the area where his homeschool is, we do not include that square footage in our taxes. We deduct that from square footage, and then the rest of it we use. That way, it might only be 20 square feet, but if they audit you and you've done that for over a year or the last 10 years, that's a hit and a half. Well, he came back. There he is.
I know. Are you ready to come back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Does anybody use TurboTax? See, I don't.
Yes.
Once again, my CPA does all my stuff. So
hold on. Do we use TurboTax? Yes, we do. TurboTax Home Business.
One thing when I was outside, I was talking about continuing education in the lawn care business, which is a thing, even though it's a dummy job per se. Anybody can go out and mow yards, and there's 2 people on this page that give you lawn care tips, and those are fun videos to watch. But the videos that aren't so fun to watch, and I'm sorry to say, but Old Timer up here, he's always talking about the money side of things and business side of things every time he comes into your chats.
Who,
I think
me?
you ought, yeah, I think you ought to make more videos on that, because I don't think anybody out there actually talks about the business side of the lawn care industry.
The one that, and that being that we're doing this, I have to give kudos too. I've been doing this for 21 years, and most of my customers like their grass cut short. Well, I don't like it cut short, but I was doing what the customer wanted me to do. Well, I was watching Danny, and Danny was always talking about striping. Well, down here in the South, it's hard to stripe grass that's only 1.5 inches long.
Mhm.
1 3/4 inches. You leave a stripe, but it's not well defined. Well, I was like, you know what? All they can do is tell me to cut it shorter. And I went in 1/4 inch increments, and I got it up to 3 inches. And dude, and Danny, I have to give you credit, dude. My customers love it. And everybody has commented about how much healthier the grass looks. And that's what I was going to say. The one thing, especially you, is only been in business a year. Whatever grasses your customers have, study those grasses. Study what they need, study how they grow, what kind of water patterns they need, the growth pattern, the mat pattern, everything. That's what I had to start doing. And I'm telling you, it taught me so much. I mean, do I take classes? No. I get online and I read and I read and I read. And
If you want to just make it, then I'll say do lawn care. If you want to just make it, just do lawn care. If you want to go above and beyond, get outside of that niche and do the mulch, the bush trimming, learn how to do the small retaining walls, learn how to, go get your pesticide license to where you can spray. There's good money in
I'm fixing to do that too.
Around that. If you can become that company that they can get everything done through instead of having to hire different people, well, your income's going to skyrocket because they can use you for majority of everything.
I went to the local lawn and garden, one of the local lawn and garden places here, and one of my customers told me she'd like to have fescue seeded in her backyard. Now, I don't have any customers around here that have fescue. Most people have centipede and Bermuda. And so I went and talked to them, and they said, well, fescue doesn't do very well around here. They said it's a cool temperature grass, and in these 100-degree temperatures in the summertime, it just doesn't do well. And I said, then why do you sell it? I said, if it doesn't do, and the lady said, well, there's just some people that insist on having it, but they're not happy with it. So I've actually got 2 overseeding jobs to do. And I'm probably going to be going with Bermuda and I hate cutting Bermuda. I hate it, but it is a very thick, lush grass once it takes hold. And, it's very hard for weeds to grow in it.
What I like doing is because always during the summertime, it's usually so hot that growing. I'm always looking and taking notes of what my clients. Okay, bushes need trim. Maybe freshen up the mulch. Cut those low hanging limbs. Always something to where when it does get to that slow part, I can go, hey, you know what? I've noticed you need this, or you've got this, this, and this. Would you like for me to go ahead and take that care of, take care of that for you.
Right.
And then I'm back to busy again, even though
Yep.
I'm not mowing. Now I'm still getting the money in, but I'm making more money than I would be mowing in the first place. But I'm staying busy.
Right. Well, that's what my last video was about working in the wintertime.
So Phil says, why does the IRS audit in the first place? Is it because they think you're trying to pull something? Sorry, not too knowledgeable in this field. If you get the workman's comp, you're guaranteed to get audited once a year. Once you get workman's comp, they automatically audit you yearly, regardless of what you are, who you are. That's a guarantee.
Really?
Yeah. So once you get into the workman's comp thing, you're audited every year.
Now, are you required to have workman's comp being solo? No, me either. I think in North Carolina you have to have, I think, 4 or more guys other than you, and then you're required to have it.
So Virgil, can you answer Phil's question, or JC, perhaps? What throws the red flags for? I mean, I think they just randomly do it, here and there. I don't think it really matters if you got red flags or not. It just happens sometimes.
I think it's a percentage.
But I don't know how that works myself.
Well, one thing that will throw a red flag, and I say this because my father-in-law used to be an insurance salesman, God rest his soul. But one year he claimed like 10,000 miles mileage. And the next year, and these are not the actual numbers, I'm just using this as an example. The next year he claimed 22,000. And they're like, wait a minute, but yet he was making the same amount of money. And that is a huge red flag. If something is drastically different from one year to the other, and you don't show an increase in your income, that's a huge red flag.
That's another thing I've heard is if you can, from what I've been told, you can go, you can show negative 2 out of every 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to show negative every year, well, that's a red flag. They will probably audit you, because there's no reason why you shouldn't be. They say, well, if you're buying new equipment and stuff throughout the year, well, they can see maybe you going negative. But if you're going negative every year to try to get money back, then that's they don't like giving money away. So
the funny thing is, it's our money. Now, do you pay quarterly taxes? Do any of you pay quarterly? No, I
just do all mine at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now, once you go to an LLC, you have to pay quarterly. It goes to quarterly taxes. Then you have to start paying quarterly. So like Randy, he's a quarterly tax guy.
I am.
If you're an LLC.
Whoop.
Yeah, if you're an LLC, you're supposed to every quarter you're supposed to file taxes.
I don't think my income generated enough.
What income?
Right.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. An LLC does not have to file quarterly. I thought once you went to an LLC, you had to file quarterly.
I was like you, Danny. I thought that was the case too. Now, you mentioned a while ago that I need to do videos on what now?
It's talking to you, Randy.
Yeah, Randy.
I
said you were saying I need to do more videos on what now?
Business.
Okay.
I don't think there's any channels out there that actually talk about business.
Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry.
And every time I see you on Danny's chat, that's where your head is at, is talking about.
I don't, when you've been doing this, I was a truck driver for 17 years, and then I got out of that and I started doing this. And how I got started, my brother lived in Asheville, North Carolina, or I'm sorry, Asheboro, which is about 90 miles away from where I live. And his wife's grandmother died, and her property was here, about 15 miles from where my shop is. So he asked me how much I would charge to go cut their grass until they got the house ready and put it on the market. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to charge you anything. You're my brother. And I went and did it with the push mower and the home light weed eater. And they sent me a check. And then I started telling different people, and it just kind of snowballed. Because anybody that knows me will tell you I hated doing yard work growing up. And the last thing I intended on doing with my life is yard work. But you know what? Me and Williams was talking the other night. I'm a Christian, and I feel like God just laid this in my lap. And it has absolutely. I heard a guy one time, his name is Doug Fireball. You can look him up. And it's just like Limbaugh, but it's Fireball. And he said, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Mm-hmm. Well, I did not know that I would love what I do as much as I do. And now that my son is working with me here from time to time, I love it even more. And, I don't know that I know as much about the business part as I do when I start talking about it, because to me, I'm just a grease junkie. I get on the weed eater, I get on the mower, and that's in my mind, that's all I know until I start talking, and I have to give I have to give credit where credit's due. My wife has taught me a lot too. And thank God for her, because if it wasn't for her, I don't know that I would have been able to make it. Because I find it really difficult to juggle the actual work aspect and the business aspect. I bring the receipts in from time to time, and I say, where do you want me to put these? And she'll say, put them in that folder right there. And then at the end of the year, or at the end of the month, she enters everything into a spreadsheet, and then it's done. And I think I will do some stuff like that, because that sounds interesting.
That's my wife's car, Phil.
Yeah.
Literally, I will tell people all day that is my wife's car. I'm against the 4.6 GT. I'd much rather have a 5.0 or a GT 500.
Oh,
she didn't want to wait. She didn't want to wait. She found the color she wanted, and she didn't care. It was a stick shift. It had the color. It was the V8, and that's all she cared about.
Now, you said you bought a Gravely. What did you buy?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, way back when. That was close to 20 years ago. I couldn't tell you the model.
What do you run now?
Skag.
Okay.
That's only because they're a couple blocks away from the house.
Mm-hmm. I run. Me and Danny go back and forth on this. I run Gravely and don't have any problems with it.
Same here.
Oh, you run Gravely?
Yeah, I run Gravely Pro Stances.
Okay. I run the 452 Pro Turn 452. The only thing I don't like about it is the weight. Other than that, dang thing's a tank.
Yeah.
Lawnscape says adding an employee is easy. Charles says a $1,250 fine for missing a filing tells me I have to. I have an LLC in Missouri. Everybody should be prepared that financial institutions will be required to notify the IRS with transactions over $600. Expect more 1099s from credit card processors like PayPal, etc. See, I claim all of it anyway, so
me too.
I don't. My big thing is if you're doing it right, why are you worried about it? Like, that's my big thing. If you are doing it right and claiming all of your money like you should be, then you shouldn't worry about whether you're getting a 1099 or be scared of what's happening with Venmo or PayPal. Yes, you will get a 1099 from YouTube if you pull money out that year. Now, if you do not pull money out, like let's say I pulled no money out in 2021, I will not get a 1099 because they didn't pay me anything. It's still in their account.
Right.
If what you pull out for that filing year is what you will get a 1099 on.
Randy, what is your channel?
I got a couple. There's G4 Outdoors, the lawn care guy.
Okay. I'll look you up and subscribe to your channel.
Yes, from AdSense. Pay your dues. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to be like, when I called Andy, Andy helped me set everything up from the beginning, because I told him I didn't want to be just a weekend warrior. If I was going to do it, I wanted to do it right. What do I need to do? They pretty much helped me, get started with what I needed to do. If it wasn't for Andy, I wouldn't have had a clue where to start or, where to go. But ever since I've started my business, every penny, I don't care if it's cash, I still, it all goes into my account. It all gets claimed because I don't want the headache over the long run of, something happening or, getting audited and them go, well, where's this PayPal money or this bit? It's easier for me to do it right and not have any worries than it is for me to wonder if something's going to happen and have that worry.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
When I started, I just took a draw. I feel like people should pay themselves a paycheck. I think too many people think all dollars in the account is theirs and not the business's. Yeah, you should always put money back into your business. Always. There's many different types of LLCs and incorporations. Find out which is best for you. Yeah. It really all depends on, what you're doing, how you're doing it. That's once again where your CPA, tax person will come in. Is they will help you figure out where you need to be, how you need to be filing or whatever. Andy's all quiet. He's just listening.
I'm just listening.
Well, tell me something, guys. Now, me and Randy are new. I mean, I've been in business longer than anybody, but I'm newer to YouTube than you two guys. How do y'all go about? And I'm asking this for my son. How do y'all go about getting dealers to give you products to review and things like that? Do you ask them, or do they know you have a YouTube channel and they loan it to you to boost the product?
I talked to that guy and that guy.
It's usually them reaching out to me wanting, promotion for their products.
Because the reason I asked, my son, he has a Lego channel, and he's got a friend that lives about 200 miles away, and his friend has less subscribers than he does, and Lego is sending him product to review on his channel, and my son hasn't even gotten recognized yet. He doesn't even have 100 subscribers. I know that, and my son's got almost 400.
Yeah.
So my big thing, Virgil, was with claiming cash and stuff. My first year, regardless, was a lot of people paid me cash. If I'm not claiming that cash, but I'm claiming all this mileage like I'm out doing something all the time, well, I figured it was honestly going to throw a red flag saying, oh, well, you made $3,000 for the year, but you drove 20,000 miles.
You should up your prices.
that's asking for something to be done.
Yeah.
So I just never wanted to go through it to begin with, honestly. Some people say claim 50% of it and, forget the other 50. Do you. I do what I felt was best for me. And, everybody else can do it how they want to do it. But that's personally how I did it.
Yeah, next year, I can't claim any mileage this year because I only did one property this year.
Mm-hmm.
If I claimed on mileage, they'd be all over me.
Guys, I'm sorry. These earbuds are itching.
That's
So,
private partner has
2022 is gonna have to be all legit.
What'd you say, Randy?
2022 is going to have to be all legit.
The best thing I found was keeping up on everything, knowing your losses. When you track, regardless of how you do it, you can have your wife do it. Like my wife's great at spreadsheets. If I wanted her to, I could do a spreadsheet. Some of these apps, you can track your mileage, you can track your gas, your fuel, you can track everything. You can label it how you want to at the end of the week, at the end of the month. You can literally go through and it'll tell you this much is how much you spent. This is how much you really made, knowing your numbers is the biggest crucial thing in any business, is knowing your numbers, because once again, you see all this money coming in and you think, like Virgil said, I got $10,000 in the account. You're not taking into account, I've got taxes. Am I working this winter? I like working and saving my money up to where when September comes, I've got enough for winter already saved up to where I don't have to do anything. I get bored. I may go push snow for somebody else, but I don't have to. I'm not sit there and I'm not dependent on somebody else for me to pay my bills. I've already got that saved up to where when winter comes, I don't have to worry about it.
There it is. Dude,
What's
that's a sick green screen picture. I like it. I still can't figure it out where it was taken though.
My business card. Look.
Yeah, I'm gonna put your phone number. I'm gonna put your phone number on blast.
Oh yeah. The whole $600 rule is going to hurt the arts and crafts flea market people that don't make it a career. Danny, if you're getting cash, I wouldn't be writing anything off or claiming anything. But I wanted to do it right from the beginning. And I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick. It's hard for me to understand or realize how you were so into don't do this as a sole proprietor, automatically start as an LLC, but then you go back to a comment like that.
What is y'all's minimums where y'all live?
Mine's $40 this year. I'm going to $40.
I've been at 40.
Oh Lord, y'all are about to give me a heart attack.
I got some properties that are grandfathered in. I got some like old lady customers that I still do for like $35. They're kind of grandfathered in.
How big are the properties?
Not very big.
Okay, because my minimum is $50. I can't drop my trailer tailgate for under that. I just can't. And when I get to a half an acre, it goes to $65. And then when I get over that, it goes to $75 to $80.
So Virgil, my thing was you're sitting here 1 minute and you're telling people don't be a sole proprietor. Automatically, you should think long term. You should automatically start as a LLC and all of this. You shouldn't even think about being a sole proprietor for business insurance, for liability reasons and things of that. So it's like you've got the mindset to be business, but then you go back and say something like you did with, you shouldn't claim any cash. Why claim anything if you're only getting paid cash and things of that? But at the beginning, you're telling people you should only start as an LLC. So why shouldn't you claim anything? I guess I'm missing the point, because you don't think that's going to throw a red flag? Like, you start a company as an LLC to start a business. If I'm out there to start a business, I'm going to claim it. And the reason I'm going to claim it is for the simple fact of, when I go to buy something and my business credit's not built up, I still have a way of showing an income. So why wouldn't you claim it? Because if you don't claim it, let's say you're a single person who just started a lawn care, you have no income to show. Nobody's going to give you shit. So why wouldn't you just do it right to begin with, regardless of how you're getting paid, and be able to show that you've got an income coming in? Because if you don't have an income, nobody's going to give you a place to rent. Nobody's going to give you a car to drive. So why would you not claim that?
I see that.
Absolutely.
Where are you located at?
I'm in the big state of North Carolina.
North
I'm about 25 miles east of Fort Bragg.
Is that about the starting price of all the companies up there is 50?
No. The bigger companies, we have one here. Their minimum is $125, and you have to sign a 2-year contract.
Good grief.
Yeah. And again, when they come to your house, like me, you, Danny, when we go to the job, we're on the job. We are the business. These guys, when they go, they send a woman to do the estimate. Nothing wrong with that if she's experienced in doing estimates. Then they send someone else out to sign the contract, and then they send a crew of 4 or 5 guys, and they're charging you $150 to $200, and they're there for 20 minutes. And then
I like this comment, because if you were going to just start out, and like my first year before when I did this part-time, I said, I want to see if the money's there. I can see not claiming anything, because I still had a full-time job.
Right.
I still had that income, and I was just trying to see if the money was there. So when people paid me cash, I could see not claiming that, because you are once again just trying to see. But if you were trying to get out there and you're trying to do this legitimately, then that's what I was trying to figure out, was because from the beginning, when we were talking about starting out, you were all about do it right, start as an LLC, don't do it any other way. And now we're talking about a whole different subject. So now we're talking about, you have no idea if it's going to work. You're just doing it for shenanigans, per se, to see if the money's there. That's a totally different story. I thought we were still on the subject of do it right. And,
Yeah, the comment you have up there right now, that was my first year. I got 1099 by one person that I mowed for. Kind of put a damper.
Phil says, do you guys use credit cards? I've stopped and went to cash only.
I do.
I do cash, Venmo, debit, credit. I do it all. Like,
I do too.
Try to do what's best for the customer, but I always ask the client from the beginning, hey, this is the way of payments. How are you going to be paying? And then if they say credit card, or they're going to pay goods and services, that's fine. I totally, that we can do that. All I ask is, if you're going to do that, you're going to pay the service fees, because I quoted you $35 or $40 for this lawn, not $32, $33.
Right. Well, see,
I got burnt out on cash. I got sick of chasing money around. That's what cash, to me, that's how cash feels. Like, how am I going to get this from this person? Am I going to meet
or
me
you
to do
spend
this?
the cash, and then you're like, where the hell did my money go?
when I have customers that pay cash, What I use the cash for are things that are not tax deductible, like gas in the truck, oil for my truck, anything like that, any kind of repair. That's what I use my cash for. That way it doesn't have to come out of my account, out of my business, and anything like that that's not a tax deduction, that's what I use my cash for. And I keep a cash stash for things like that. Like when we had this ice storm, I went and bought gas for the generator. I paid cash for it because
Who are you
I'll
talking
end
about,
up.
Matthew? Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll end up putting it in my truck and my wife's car, and that way I didn't have to pull money out of my account to do that. But I use PayPal. I'm looking into Venmo. I haven't gotten there yet, but I use PayPal. I take checks, I take cash, and I take credit cards.
Venmo's just a couple clicks away.
Okay.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, all you do is get the app. They transfer a couple pennies and verify you're on.
Is it better than PayPal?
Same thing.
Okay.
I think they're actually owned by PayPal owns Venmo.
Oh, okay.
So Danny, how do you change a mower blade?
I honestly couldn't believe that question got asked. I couldn't believe it.
I laughed inside.
I was dying. I was just like, did he really just ask that?
I like how you hit him with an 18 millimeter.
Right. I was like, oh yeah, let me finish this up and make him feel even smarter. It's an 18 millimeter and it comes off counterclockwise, Blake.
15/16 here.
Yeah, I got 15,
Oh, we're talking
16.
about the new Milwaukee mower.
Okay.
I use
Was
Stripe
that
and
was-
hate fees.
I use Stripe too, Phils. I don't mind the fees because the fees are a write-off.
I use is it Stripe? Hang on. I'll tell you what it is.
Stripe's partnered with Yard Books.
Yeah, I think
then it's not
I'm going
Stripe.
to do
It's
I'm going to do a lot more research and get into it, and I'm going to try
Square.
and go credit card on file on everybody. Just because for the 1 year I was in it, I've had a couple people that, to you guys, 3 days may not be late. But when I originally got these people, I tell them I expect a quick payment. 3 days isn't quick to me. And I hate seeing that $50 just sitting out there.
Oh, dude,
And I know
it's constant.
some people in here are way worse than that.
Yeah.
Most of my customers that, because I tell them up front when I'm talking to them about taking on their property. Now I don't run a credit agency. How do you want to pay? Well, I'll just pay check. Okay. When I get here, where do you want to put the check? Because if you're not going to be here, I need to know where it's going to be. And they designate a place. I'll say, okay, when I check that place, if the check is not there, I'm leaving. I'm not doing your yard.
Mhm.
Because I when I leave, I have expenses that have already had to be allocated. I've got gas, I've got wear and tear, I've got all of that broken down. I know exactly what I've got to have. And if there's a gap in my day, then I'm going in the red. And I can't do that.
I think it would be super nice to get someone's property done, press the button in Yard Books, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Seems easier to do it all at the end of the week, though.
What is
Like,
the most?
personally, I'd rather have all my money come in at once than sporadic days.
What is the most you guys have been behind on? What is the most a single person has been behind on your companies, if you're willing to say?
Let me be
I had a
honest
guy
with you.
stiff me for over $365.
The most I've lost is $75.
Okay,
That's
I'm gonna
But I
shock
changed
all
it
of you.
to where I didn't have to worry about it anymore.
I got a job not far from my shop doing a U.S. postal office. Now, we're talking about a federal agency here. They stiffed me for 6 months
I would have.
with a contract.
You should have audited them.
Well, they finally, actually, my wife sent them a very strongly worded letter, and within about a week and a half, the lady that was the postmaster there, she called me and said, your check is here. So, but I refuse to do work for government agencies because they don't pay.
Yeah.
They are, let me rephrase that. They are the worst about paying on time.
Now I have done a couple of big jobs this year that was kind of scary. None of them lived in the town I was living in. I just did all the work over text.
Mm.
Did you get paid?
Yeah. Yep. Fortunately.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I had a customer that owned an apartment complex here, and we're in the next city over, and I was doing one of her relatives' yards already, not far from here, and through mutual connection, she hired me, and she lives in Tennessee, and she lives in Tennessee, and that's how I got that job, and I had no problem collecting from her.
Yeah, you live and learn. I said my third year I'm done with biweekly, and what did I do? I still took on biweekly.
I'm not going to do it.
I got to the point to where, after that third, I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing it. I've got to learn to say no to these people.
The reason I'm not going to do it is because I've only got one to start off with. But every time I get there and the yard's overgrown, and I tell her, there's going to be an upcharge on it, she throws a fit. And not that I feel guilty, but I don't like the confrontation that goes along with that. So
Right. It's annoying.
I don't need.
Yeah,
I don't
or
need
they expect their lawn to look, immaculate.
And you want it to look good. No, it ain't. It ain't
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
And I told everybody from the beginning, I'm like, if you want it to look good, then, bi-weekly may be your thing if that's what you're wanting to do. But don't expect it to, I'm going to mow it. There ain't going to be no grass sticking up. You may have clumps everywhere. It's not going to look good. That's why I offer a weekly service. Simple as that.
Most people around here, they won't pay for weekly service. It's bi-weekly, or now I have a few rare customers that won't say, I want you to come every week, but most people every 2 weeks.
Yeah, see, I've heard a lot about that in Oklahoma being the same way.
I say, your grass doesn't grow like ours does.
Yeah. They're like, if I didn't do bi-weekly, I wouldn't have anything probably.
I beg to differ. Have you ever heard of Bahia grass?
Yeah, but how many of your yards are?
Probably 90% have Bahia grass in them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they grow 2 to 3 feet in 2 weeks.
I thought Bahia was just a weed.
No, it's an actual grass.
Hmm.
And I have found out that it stripes very well. But yeah, and centipede, it'll grow probably, I'm trying to get to the camera, it'll probably grow that much in 2 weeks.
No, the guy below me is Andy from Cut and Clean. He got off the social media platform stage pretty much right before you started your channel. So that's probably why you don't know him. But he's a bigger channel.
YouTube anyway.
Yeah, and he's part of G4 Outdoors with Randy over here.
Best channel on YouTube.
That's right.
Got a new video coming out in 15 minutes.
15
You
minutes.
on G4
What's
Outdoors.
up? What's up, Andy in his house?
KLC, what's up, brother?
So let's close it out. We're at an hour and 41. I'm sure we could talk all day, but what final thoughts? What this whole thing was about was starting your business. Let's talk about it. What is the last advice, I guess you would say, give to somebody? Randy's got his hand up like he's in a classroom.
If you're
The
looking
stage is
to
yours.
start your lawn care business, the hardest part is taking that first step. Believing in yourself and taking that first step is the biggest step that you can take. Once you've taken that step, you're either going to start running or falling. Either way, you've taken that step and you're heading in the right direction.
Literally, that is the biggest step. Is taking that step.
What
Big
I would
Sal?
say is do your research. Talk to someone that's been doing this for at least 3 years. Not to take anything away from Randy, but talk to someone that's been doing it at least 3 years. Number 2, do not think you have to have a brand new truck, a brand new lawnmower, a brand new trailer, a brand new weed eater. You start with what you have. The last thing a new business needs is a pile of debt hanging over their head, because we know how the economy works. If what happened to you happened to me, and you've got $1,000 a month truck payment like I had, this was in 1999. You got to scramble to find work, or you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your shirt. So don't believe you have to have the biggest and the best of everything right out of the gate. Start small and offer a better. My wife just said it. That's exactly what I was going to say. Starting small is better than not starting at all.
Yeah.
And when you get to where you can work your way up, and when you get to where you can, then you start taking that money and investing little by little in your business. You know how long I was in business before I bought my first commercial weed
You're
eater?
not only investing in your business, you're investing in yourself,
Exactly.
in your future.
Exactly. And look professional. Have nice, neat hair when you go. Brush your teeth when you go talk to customers.
What about us that don't have hair?
Yeah. No offense, men.
Brush it anyway, Randy.
Yeah, shave. Those kind of things don't smell funky when you talk to customers. And the one thing I'll say this and I'll hush. Talking to your customers, not on a personal level, but just on that thin layer right there, it gives you a better idea of what they want and allows you to give them what they expect. And that will take you further than anything else.
Yeah, you've got to know your customers' needs. Because if you can't fulfill those needs because you weren't asking the right questions or trying to do this mulch job that they needed done or whatever the case may be, they are going to find somebody that will. And you're going to either A, lose out on that money, or B, they're just going to hire them and get rid of you, and you're going to lose out on it all. Virgil, Lawnscapes of America says, admitting you have a problem that you are addicted to the smell of fresh cut grass. Ken at KLC says his advice is to stay focused and keep consistent effort. Do not give up.
Amen.
And Yep. My buddy only accepts new visits if they add a credit card on file. You can bid with a DBA, just have all insurance and you're good. People in general should be constantly investing in themselves. Facts. Customers do not care if your equipment's new or not.
We got
I
two more.
say that's a. I don't know. I don't know how to take that because
I
We got
would
two
just,
more
I
closing
would be,
thoughts.
I would be inclined to disagree with that.
I mean, me personally, once again, if I was to hire a lawn care company personally, and I'm looking for quality service, I'm going to hire the guy that has the better equipment, in my opinion. Personally, I mean, I'm picky, so personally, that's me. If I'm just looking for somebody to mow my yard, well, I don't care if the kid across the street does it. So, I think there's two different types of people that you're advertising to. You've got the people that just want to cut the grass and don't care what it looks like, and then you've got the quality people that want it to, look outstanding, fantastic, blah, blah, blah. Now, do you have to have the equipment? No. Does it help you sell that job? I believe yes.
Well, Danny, I'm going to help you out. You said we're getting off of here, and we have two more closing thoughts on. Go ahead.
Okay. Andy,
My
what you
closing
got?
thoughts are, when it comes to starting your lawn care business, remember that business is part of it. If you think it's just all mowing grass and having fun, it's not. There's a lot behind the scenes that you have to know and do. So always keep that in consideration.
Yeah, a lot of people get out of their full-time job thinking it's going to be easier, but what they don't realize is not only are they doing a full-time job still, but once they get home, they're still like at a full-time job because now you've got all the paperwork and stuff that a lot of, people don't see that behind the scenes.
Because when you're working for a full-time job, you're just collecting a paycheck. They're doing everything that involves the business behind the scenes. They're taking your taxes out. They're doing all that stuff for you. So when you're doing it all by yourself, there's a lot more hats you're going to have to wear for sure.
Right. Yeah. Look and act and speak professional if you can't. The new equipment won't help you. That's a true statement. Virgil says, I can show you a 95,000 and 127,000 contract right now, and they don't care about your equipment. Well, I didn't say they did. I just said that if I personally was to hire somebody for a quality service, I'm going to hire somebody that has the better equipment, in my opinion. That's me. And I think, me acting or thinking like I was a customer, that's what made me honestly want to upgrade my equipment, was because of that. I think not only was it to invest in my business, but it was to be more profitable. I feel that having the right equipment for the job, I can be more profitable because I can get it done quicker, make it look better, whatever the case may be. But I agree with this. New doesn't mean better. You think all companies buy new equipment every year? I tend to the highest level client in many service areas. Never have any of them get concerned about my equipment. Okay. Do you run a Cub Cadet? What mower are you running? Are you running commercial equipment or are you running homeowner equipment?
It's your show, working on 2 hours. What you got, Danny?
I know. I can do my parking lots with a van and broom. They don't care. I still disagree. I don't think you'll get. I think it really depends on your area. If I'm in a high-end area, I don't think I'm going to get.
Well, can I answer that?
A quality service with, but that's just me. I mean, maybe that's why I think differently.
Well, let me throw this little nugget in there. I used to have an ad in our local phone book. I don't anymore, and I'll tell you why. And this goes
They don't
right.
make phone books anymore. You old.
Well, no, I'm saying even I haven't run an ad in the phone book in probably 15 years, and here's why. Your phone rings, and you answer it. Well, it's the little old lady from Pasadena, and she's looking to get her yard cut yesterday, and wants to pay you $35 to do it. They're and I've done it myself, price shopping. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. What I am saying is I want higher quality clients. I don't want clients that are going to dollar me to death. I want a client that when I pull up on the job, they see my truck, they see my trailer, they see my equipment. And when I quote them the job, they know that I'm going to be able to handle whatever that job throws at me because I have the proper equipment. And I know this because it happened to me when I was
But
running.
this is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about brand new equipment every year. You're taking it
Yeah.
out of context. I'm not out there using a 1997 mower compared to somebody who's using a 10-year-old commercial zero turn.
Right.
I think there's a difference.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm going to start advertising in the TV guide.
The TV guide.
Now you keep Randy, you keep calling me old. How old are you?
You're like 48, aren't you?
Yeah, 48.
I'm only 55, so I only got you by 7 years.
I would have put you at 57. I was close.
Oh Lord.
Last thoughts. My thoughts is if you're going to do this, I think everybody should create a business plan from the beginning. What your plan, is going to be, what your goals are, who are you going to serve, what makes you unique from other companies, your market size, your competition, what are you selling, how are you going to get customers, your sales process, how much do you plan on making? I think everybody should get a business plan together from the very beginning and, see what their expectations are from the get-go and, go from there. So don't forget, create a Google Biz. Definitely. That's, always. So we mentioned that earlier, like Google business, word of mouth is probably my two biggest things. My website has brought me business, but not even close to what word of mouth or Google has ever done.
Stay away from Angie's List.
And Home Advisor.
Yeah, but you've got the right equipment for the job, is what I'm getting at. What a customer believes, like C-Van, if he was in here, he will tell you he can show up to a property down there where he's at, and he will not get hired because somebody has nicer or newer equipment than him. It depends on your area. I don't care what anybody says.
That's right.
I really don't, because I'll prove you wrong all day.
Lawn snobs.
I will take you to an area that you will not get hired having a residential lawnmower trying to mow clients where he's at. And he's an hour away from anything.
Another thing is, does your lawnmower look like you've been running into trees and houses, or does it look good like you're staying away from all that?
I mean, C-Van, he will be the first to tell you that he started with a residential mower, nothing wrong with it, but he would not get a job because his mower was not a commercial grade, what the client considered anyway, commercial grade. So it really does depend on your area, and it really will stop you from getting jobs depending on the equipment you have. If you show up to do your $300 visit or your $100,000 landscaping job, even though your equipment's 20 years old, you've still got the right equipment for that job. I'm saying it depends on your area.
He's making a bigger deal out of it. It
depends on your area, right?
He's biting the bullet. He's got it.
Yeah.
He can't let it go.
Depends on your area. I'll prove it wrong all day. I don't care how long you've been in business. You could be in business 50 years. I will take you to neighborhoods and prove you wrong. That it not. Your mower will make a difference. If you're running a residential Cub Cadet from Home Depot compared to a commercial unit, it depends on what that client is A, wanting, and B, what they're looking for in that. Are they just looking for someone to mow? They ain't going to give two craps what you're wanting. So yeah, you can get commercial properties. They don't care. They just want the lawn mowed. But if you are trying to get these high quality projects, well, you're probably not going to be the one to get hired if you don't have the right equipment. I'm not saying it has to be brand new, but it's whatever the customer considers the right equipment, not what I consider or you consider.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If they are not beholding to you for whatever the reason, they're not going to talk to you.
Right. I mean, it's like anything else, you know.
Yeah, it's just like Danny. If he showed up at my house with a baby blue Mustang, I wouldn't want to talk to him.
Right. Hey,
with a 4.6,
you can have a fancy wrap on your vehicle and everything, and have the lowest equipment on there, or you can show up with a standard clunker truck and have the nicest equipment.
Hey, watch it.
It all depends on what they are looking for and what you're advertising as in that area. I mean, that, you know, he said, "Stop it! You're killing me. My stomach hurts." And that's the difference between Pennsylvania and Missouri, man. They may not care where you're at. Down here, you know, I promise you, I'll bet any amount of money on it all day long.
I can take you to a neighborhood right here where I live, and them the $400,000 and $500,000 houses. If you ain't got, and I'm gonna try to keep this as civil as I can, but if you don't have a crew of 5 or 6 guys and 4 or 5 lawnmowers, 2, 3 guys on the weed eaters, they won't talk to you. They will not talk to you.
Yeah, it really all depends, I think, on what, you know, it is that somebody's looking for. But he says the customer has no idea the new Cub Cadet zero turn or Home Depot mower, and they don't care. I guess we'll end it with that. All right, everybody, we're out of here. This is probably going to be put on the podcast for everybody to listen to, and because that's a good 2 hour of listening to jibber jabberish and argumentative stuff. That's got to be fun, right? Got to be fun, right? So yeah, I mean,
men talking about how old they are.
He's still taking it wrong. Like, you still have the equipment for the job. You're not out there with a push spreader. If I'm hiring you to do pesticide and you come with a homeowner Scott's compared to a company that shows up with a 20-year-old permagreen ride-on and a, you know, spreader that says whatever on it, well, I'm probably going to hire that company over you, thinking that they know more.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying it depends on the equipment like that. Like, you've got a permagreen. You can still get into nicer areas. It's not a Scott's push spreader you're trying to market these people to. Once again, it depends on the market you're marketing to. And that's probably why True Green don't have a lot of the business around here.
Oh, True Green. I could tell you a horror story about True Green. They tried to throw shade on me.
Yeah, True Green don't have a lot of business around here. They're
here either.
But I guarantee you they take up maybe 15% of the market, and there's other companies that have way nicer equipment that take up the rest of it.
Do y'all have Spring Green there?
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, they're down here. I didn't know if y'all had them in y'all's area or not.
All right, we are out of here. Yeah, see, G4 keeping me on track over here. Yeah. They may be the largest lawn care, but I promise you, they may mow lawns all day long, but they ain't doing any they ain't doing much fertilization in the Kansas City area.
Here either.
I guarantee it. I see them driving around, but there's way more companies that are that are doing it. That's about like, you know, comparing something to U.S. lawns. You
The
know,
guy-
when you're bidding properties at $12 a property, well, I hope you can get it. That's not the clients I want. I'm not trying to be that client. So yeah, you can be the largest all day long. Don't mean you're the most profitable. What, Randy? But I like it. It's so fun.
Well, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
like a horse turd and hit the trail.
All right. Everybody have a good one. We are out of
All right,
here.
man.